What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're gonna be doing something different. Now, in a few videos ago, I talked about how Eren knew Nod's plan by freeing the Forbidden Five by using every single elemental power in the Tournament of the Sources. Eren knew that Nod needed all the elemental powers to free the Forbidden Five. I don't know how he, of course, connected two and two together, but I'm surprised he was that smart and figured it out that not needed, of course, every single elemental power in the tournament to free the Forbidden Five. And I said in that video, if that video would get to 3 likes, I'll make a dedicated video of everything that I spot from like little details, animation errors, and stuff like that in its own dedicated video if that video hit 3 likes. Well, it managed to get more likes than I was expecting. So in today's video, this is going to be every single little detail in the background that you didn't notice in Season 2, Part 2. So let's talk about this. Now, we're mainly going to be focusing on Season 2, Part 2. Cry about it if you don't care about Season 2, Part 1. Now, I did have to rewatch Season 2, Part 2 for like the 80,000th time. And man, there was a lot of funny details that you didn't notice. I mainly spotted a few, but unexpectedly, I found a lot. So this is every single little detail that I spotted in season 2, part 2. Now I didn't spot everything, but if you want, you can search for everything that you didn't notice if you want to, of course, watch season 2, part 2 again. But here's everything that I noticed when watching season 2, part 2. So without further ado, let's talk about them. Now, in episode 11, The Shape of Motion, Eren and Sora go to the administration to find Eren's parents, and we of course see upon a bunch of computer screens with familiar locations. We of course see Imperium, Ninjago City, the Crossroads, the Cloud Kingdom, and the Monastery of Spinjitzu. In episode 12, Enter the City of Temples, Geo builds a friend after what happened to Bonsal, and if you notice, of course, what Geo built, you can see that the left eye is actually Sora's Imperium medal after winning the Advanced Systems Lab Project Lab. Now, later in the episode where Lloyd made a joke about Spinjitzu and Stu, we of course see a scene where Nia, of course, doesn't care about Lloyd's joke because it isn't funny to her. But in the background, we of course see Eren and Sora giggling or smiling at Lloyd's joke, obviously making it funny to them. Or Eren and Sora are just, giggling at Nia, just, how she's not liking the joke. But you gotta give credit to Lloyd making a joke about Spinjitzu and Stu joke. And finally, the last little detail in this episode is when Eren and Lloyd are talking to each other, you of course see Cole and Nia talking to each other. But if you notice Nia, she's of course looping, and you can actually see Nia restarting to loop. So that's a funny little gag that Nia doesn't even exist. In episode 13, they gathered for the feast. Roby, of course, mocks Black for talking, and which we see Wildfire laughing at Roby for mocking Black. In episode 15, United We Fall, we of course see Sora trying to figure out which elemental master has which elemental power, and in the background, I really love how Cole is just doing weightlifting, but also just eating pie. That's literally hilarious for Cole's character right there. In episode 16, Truth and Lies, where Roz talks to what he thinks is Jordana, but really Rox, about how he, of course, captured the Source Dragon of Energy. When they, of course, are talking, in the background, we actually see Nod pop in the background, which I really never noticed in my first watching, but later when I watched it a second time, I noticed that Nod was literally in the background. Then after when we see him, it actually kind of makes sense that he was, of course, listening the conversation because Rox was inside of Jordana's body. Later in the episode, when Sora, of course, won after competing against Cinder, the ninjas, of course, are celebrating Sora's win, but in the background, you can, of course, see Eren not happy of Sora. In the episode, The Sword Shatters, we of course get to see where Eren tells the ninjas what he's been up to and shows a bulletin board of all the information to try and find out who, of course, killed the Arc Dragons. And all of this writing is, of course, in jargon, but thanks to Diladoxy over on Twitter, he, of course, translated And we basically know what Aaron has been up to with all this information. So let's talk about this from left to right because the last part is very important. So let's talk about that. But first and foremost, let's talk about what he got. So on the top, he of course got Roby, we got horns, and then it says below of Roby's photo, it says Black threats Roby badly, and we of course get Black. And then in the bottom of Black's name, we of course says assassin bot relate to Lloyd, Zerg, and Roz. And then in the middle, we of course says is Roz connected to the dragon horns. And then below that is of course Sybil connected to the attacker bot. And probably the most shocking thing of all is next to Not's photo, it says needs powers to free the Forbidden Five. So basically, Aaron knew that Nod needed all the elemental powers to free the Forbidden Five. I don't know how he, of course, connected two and two together, but I'm surprised he was that smart and figured it out that Nod needed, of course, every single elemental power in the tournament to free the Forbidden Five. Now, jumping ahead all the way to the final episode, episode 20, Elements of Betrayal, when Lloyd and Sora are having a conversation to each other while this massive fight is going on. In the background, we of course see Kissy, the Elemental Master of Balance, jumping up and down to, of course, attack the Wolf Warrior, which is so hilarious that she has to just jump up and down to, of course, knock that Wolf Warrior down, and that's kind of hysterical for that scene. Later in the episode, when Ross, of course, throws Black across the two Wolf Warriors, you can see that one of the Wolf Warriors is actually wearing the blue outfit instead of the purple and red outfit, which is, of course, an animation error. And probably one of my favorite details from season 2, part 2 is when Lloyd is about to tell Wildfire's time to, of course, go home. We, of course, see that Lloyd was trying to interrupt Wildfire and Roby, but I love how, of course, Sora grabs Lloyd and drags him with her. This is probably the most funniest thing I ever see with Lloyd trying to, of course, intervene their conversation. And of course, Sora noticed this and just grabs Lloyd and just drags him out of this, situation. Probably one of the most funniest things I ever seen in Ninjago. But yeah, those are of course little details in the background that you missed in season 2, part 2. That's of course everything that I of course spotted. But if you want, feel free to do it on your own time to find more little details in the background that I missed while watching season 2, part 2. But overall, that's everything that I found in the backgrounds. And honestly, some details were actually, funny. Some of them are animation errors, and some of them or just reuse assets for different parts and stuff like that. But honestly, I really love Cole just eating pie and working out, and of course, Sora just grabbing Lloyd and just dragging him with her. Those are probably one of the funniest things yet. But comment down below what's your favorite funny detail in the background that you haven't seen in season 2, part 2. Leave it down in the comments down below, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys subscribe, turn on notifications whenever I post a brand new video. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!